guys, Chad here with Peter's Outdoors. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go in the tool room and we're going to do some work in there, actually welding some parts up. So let's go ahead and go in there. We'll get started and I'll show you what we got. Alright guys, this is what we're looking at for today. This is Ruff Specialities. Hopefully you can see that. Kind of looks like there's a glare on the phone, but this is a dual adjustment 4-link bracket. So like I said, I am not a fabricator. I weld decently, I think. So I looked all over the place and I could not find anybody who welded this together and did a how-to. So here it is. Like I said, I am not a professional welder, but I do what I can. I TIG welded this together. This is one of the brackets. So I welded all this down through here. I also welded this, but I sanded it down to make it kind of look nice. Not that it looked bad, I just think it looks nicer with the rounded corners like that. It's heavy duty. I mean, guys, this thing's super heavy duty. I couldn't have made this any better. Ruff Specialities. Dual link bracket. I welded a lot of the inside and the outside of these. And on the inside where I could get it. But there is no how-to video. So I'm going to attempt to make an how-to video and try to go through the steps that I went through to weld this. Alright guys, this is the box that the brackets came into. The only thing I took out of here, they had this thing stuffed full of plastic bubble wrap kind of looking stuff and a bunch of paper. They really package this stuff really well. So when it comes out of the box, this is what it looks like. It is just kind of all wrapped together and it comes in multiple pieces. There are no directions that come with this. Like I said, I tried to piece everything together from looking online. Man, this blade is dull, huh? Get this box out of the way. Like I said, they package this stuff really well. So, get all this. Almost too well. They make it Chad proof. Which isn't hard to do, I don't think. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. There's another part. Move this one out of the way. Alright. There's our parts we're working with. This is exactly how that one came. So, I kind of got online and started looking around. And this is what I came up with. So, try to start getting it together. We'll tack it up. What I want to do is tack everything, and that way there's no slipping, warping, no nothing. So this is going to take a little bit for us to weld, so I really take my time with it. This stuff is not cheap. It's not. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that they have cheap stuff on there, but you get what you pay for. So this is super heavy duty. I'm really impressed on what this is and how it comes. I ordered a bunch of stuff from Ruff Stuff. There's more stuff that I've bought from them that we're going to weld up here in a little while in another video. But this stuff is good quality stuff, and you're going to pay for it. So let's go ahead and start getting this assembled and see how far we get. Alright, so the first two parts we're going to assemble, there's a slot here and a slot here. They just interlock. So they go in there like this. And that is this part right here. So what I like to do is I'll weld this side, I'll weld this side, and then I'll flip it over and I'll weld on both sides. That way it all interlocks one another and it's a nice sturdy weld for us. This part here is on the other side, so this actually will flip over and get welded onto this like that. Excuse me. and then this is a back support. This part is that part right there. Hopefully you guys can see this one over here too. So anyway, once you weld one up together, it's not bad because you know where it goes. But like I said, trying to get started, it's not that easy. So what we'll do is we'll get started tacking all this stuff together and move on to our next part. All right, before we start to tack this up, what I want to do is I'm going to take this back apart, and I'm going to take my die grinder, and I'm going to clean up all the edges that I want to weld. That way, when I'm ready to tack this together, I got a nice clean surface. There's some sort of residue that comes on this, I would assume, from when they cut them and drill the holes and stuff like that. But it also stops it from rusting. You know, these parts have been sitting here for a little while and they haven't rusted. So I'm going to go around and clean up all my edges, and then I'm going to tack it. The cleaner the edges of my metal, the better weld and penetration I'm going to get on this part. So I'm going to go ahead and take my time and really prep this metal. That way I can go ahead and make a really good solid, because these are going to take a beating. They are. So go ahead and clean this up. We'll tack it up and be ready to go. Alright, so our parts are all cleaned up. I did the edges and everything else, as you can see. And then we're just going to put these together, then we're going to tack them. I got this clean towel I'm going to wipe everything down with. And then we'll start tacking. Just have stuff from the Scotch-Brite pad that we are using to clean this up on our die grinder. So... Alright, so we have our parts here. I'm going to try my best to tell you what I'm doing. That way it's a little bit more in depth. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because you're going to see how it goes together. But I want you guys to know how to put this together. I honestly can't find anything. There might be something out there on the internet on how to put this together. But I couldn't find anything. So I figured I'd make a video. Hopefully it'll help somebody else out. So we're going to go ahead and stick these two pieces together again. Like I said, 2 slots. That slides in there like that. Okay. So what I try to do is I want to try to make this at a 90. I also have my welding squares. These are magnets that'll hold it. So what I try to do is square this up the best that I can. And then what I normally did on my last one was I set this down next to it. That way it'll hold it. I think that looks pretty good. My good buddy Joe, let me get another magnet here. Ah! Yep, still looks good. Alright, so my buddy Joe stopped by a while ago and gave me some extra stuff he had laying around his shop. So what I've been trying to do is hold this up there like this. And I double check a lot of my stuff. Because you know me, once I do something, I normally got to redo it. Well, this isn't one of those times. So this all looks pretty good to me. Make sure I'm grounded. Alright. Make our first tack, make sure that we're all good. Alright, so I got this all tacked up, the same on the other side, on the inside over here. I'm not touching it, it's hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up on this side, and then I'll tack the bottom side. I'm gonna flip this over, I'll tack the bottom, and then I'll go back and weld it. Alright, so I'm gonna state this now. I am not a professional welder. I am not. With saying that, all I did was tack this up on all the sides here. Let me turn there, and then flip it up on end, and then I tack that side. That way all the pieces that I'm going to weld, they're all tacked. That way they're not going to move, they're not going to warp. I'm going to let this piece cool a little bit because it is hot. And we'll weld it the rest of the way up. Alright, here's the first side. So you just got done seeing me put that weld down. I went back over it a few times. I didn't really like the way it went, so I wanted to touch it up, and that's okay. Take your time with it. Make sure it's what you want. Like I said, I know I'm not a professional welder, and I'm sure there's people out there that'll critique what I'm doing, but to me this looks pretty good. So we'll keep on welding and moving on. Alright, so I got this side welded up. This next side's a little tricky. So I'm just going to spin this. This thing's still hot. So that's where I tacked it. And now I have to weld on the inside of this. So here's my TIG torch. I had to put this little button end on it because this is normally attached to there, and it's too long for me to get into this space. So I modify it and put this little guy on there so I can weld it and fit between where I need to go. Okay, so when I left you last time, we were welding on the other side. I went through, it's been a couple days, work's been crazy, but anyway, I went ahead and cleaned everything back up with my Scotch-Brite pad on my die grinder, and then went ahead and started to measure down through here and made sure my measurements were exactly the way I wanted them, and that's how I squared everything up. Let me get you, and I'll show you how this lines up on the top, because it was concerning to me the first time, but after you do it, you kind of understand why. But let me grab you. Hang on a second. Okay. So, see the way this goes out and around, and it's not flush at the end. I'm assuming they want us to take material and weld this through here. I go ahead and I use filler rod on it. It doesn't match up perfectly, but for a pre-made part, I think it does really well. I'm holding everything together basically with this magnet that I got at Harbor Freight. So I'm going to tack it and see what it looks like. Let's look down through here, and then you can see it's just barely catching the tip of that right there, just like it is here. So we should be good to go. Okay, like I said, all I wanted to do was tack it. So I tacked it a couple times, and see the way it's lining up on this side. It looks pretty much the same going down through there. So let's flip it over and make sure our bottom looks okay. Yep, this all looks pretty good. It looks just like the top, or the other side you want to say, I guess. So we'll go ahead and start welding on this and get it welded up. Okay, I looked at this and I think I'm going to try something different that I did with that one. I'm probably going to regret it, but I'm going to try to do this a little bit better this time. So this is where we just tacked the two. I'm going to roll this piece over, and this is a support bracket that looks like that. And I cleaned this up with the die grinder. So this will sit on there, something like that. So it'll make a V right there, and I can fill that in, weld this flush on this side, and make a little bit of an adjustment, and I should be able to weld all three of these together. That's my plan. You welders out there are probably like, don't do it. I'm gonna try it anyway. So anyway, just want to show you what I was doing so you didn't go, what the heck's this guy doing? Alright, so one more thing before we start welding this thing up. I went through and I tacked it a lot, actually, because I don't want this to warp. I don't want it to do anything funky when I'm welding on the other side with it getting hot. Just see how tacked all that as well. I just don't want to take any chances of it doing anything than what I want it to do. So tacked it, and tacked it some more. Didn't turn out too bad. I'm going to go ahead and grind this down just like I did the other one over here. I did go back and touch this one up just a little bit. I just like the way it looks when it's all cleaned up like that. And then I'll spray some primer on it so it doesn't rust on us. But yeah, I think they turn out okay. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully you found that useful. I am not sponsored by Ruff Stuff in any shape or form. I just think they put out a good quality product. If you guys thought this was a helpful video, please shoot it a thumbs up, hit that like button, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.